the moves, they're not hard to find. Strong arm tactics so loud, only themselves in mind. Every player has dreams of making Orca fame. They'll live on in the minds of those who get in their way. Orcas all say, don't come for me. Mid-third boots, they're so vain. As we set up the podcast webcam, the pod is here to talk Orca game. Orca King CK with delusions of fame. In this LRG world, he's the apex predator. Dani and Jules in tow, always ready to go. Now it's time for the show, they're the apex predators.
Hello and welcome to the Orca Pod, the Apex Predators of Australian Survivor LRG podcasting. Here we are for the 10th episode of Uncharted Waters. And while it may have slowed to a glacial pace after we had the elimination of the Lentil King Greg, it picked up incredibly this episode. It may have been a somewhat predictable boot, but what an incredible episode brought on by some incredible production decisions, which many doubted could play out in such an incredible way. Yet the way it unfolded was like an Ocean's 11 style heist of incredible action. Everyone played their part to perfection. We'll talk more about this, I am sure. Certainly I want to talk more about it. And the person I want to talk about with it, but maybe not immediately, because we'll get everybody in to talk about this incredible heist-styled episode. But let's bring in the person that I would love to talk to about this event this week.
Oh, it's me.
Yeah.
Yay!
Because you were quite strong last week. There was no way this advantage could result in such an interesting outcome that he would never take off the necklace, that no one would touch the necklace.
What outcome? There was no outcome. Nothing happened. About? Oh my God. Were you watching the same episode as me?
I'm just talking about the incredible moment where Mars is searching for the idol, knowing he's got to take it off something while wearing it, hangs it up. In the meantime, Ash gets the final clue, hatches the plan with Nieta.
I watched it twice.
He puts it back. They go and distract everybody. Ash takes it off. Then Mars is like, where's the thing? And then he realizes what happened. Incredible
and
television.
then what do? They vote off Dani.
Well, Ash got the idol. Look, I'll say at the time, Ash getting the idol was not the best outcome from a production point of view because she already had the power. But the way the heist was pulled off was magnificent. Sure, the villain got the money, but it was an incredible heist by the villain nonetheless.
Look, I'm not going to argue that it wasn't an awesome episode and great editing. Do I think it's a game changer, CK? No, I don't. I stand by what I said last week.
Yes, look, it would be better if Dani got the idol, but so be it. The way it came together was, I think, beautiful. We can talk more about it. And let's bring in his return from a many week sabbatical on the ski fields of Japan. Returned to work. He's had a horrible week, apparently, and he's neglecting his students' class preparation by being here tonight, but he couldn't resist being without us any longer. Let's welcome the bounty hunter back to the Orca Pod, Mark.
I'm in mourning, CK.
Mourning for what? Your trip?
The hopes of a Dani-filled finale. My dreams have been dashed. The world has changed, and not for the better.
Me too.
You should actually have to make 2 episodes to make the finale. Just say it was an uphill battle for Dani at this stage. There's still 2 episodes to go. Long season, but that's true. That is true. It's a sad day to see another one of these orcas go. But frankly, if she made it to the end, she wouldn't really be able to win Orca of the season. I think she cares more about that. Plus, Dani's elimination secures that the orcas Loz, Mark, and Josh made the correct call of Ash, Mars, and Evan to make the final 5. Was this season that predictable from that long ago? Which means that the Orca drinks are on. They're back on. The People's Champion may not have delivered, but the Orca's champions did. Orca drinks will be in Melbourne at some point later this year.
You're welcome.
Yay! Go us.
Greg thought that you were still in mourning for him.
I love how
I am
Greg
a little
thinks
bit,
that.
actually.
Yeah, you know
Greg.
what? We kind of are.
I
We
missed
kind of
him
are.
substantially the last few episodes. Greg, I take it all back. I do miss you.
Look, it slowed down a bit without Greg's presence. I think Dani and Jules did their best to keep the thing moving, but they, it's never going to be terribly exciting when the minority get booted 1-2. But let's talk about this boot. And this was the first time that I saw some of these conversations in the real time. I didn't see some of the conversations Dani was having, particularly the conversation with Mars. And I felt that while I loved the awkwardness of it all, she may have ruined any opportunity she had for staying in the game with the way she handled that conversation with Mars. Loz, do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah, look, at that point, Mars has convinced himself that he's the greatest player LRGs have ever seen. And he's played the slickest, smartest, most strategic game in history. And he wants to be pandered to. He wants people who are going to go, yeah, no, that's an awesome idea. Yes, I want to go to the end with you. Yes, you're amazing. Yes, you're the best immunity, beast in all history. That's all he wants to hear right now. And Dani turns around and goes, well, yeah, I don't like that idea. That's not in my plan. And when you're already dead, basically in the water, it's the wrong thing to say. Sometimes you do have to. I'm awful at it, so I probably would have done the same thing. My ego would not have let me pander to Mars like that. But sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to check your ego a little bit and go, you know what? Do I like your idea? No. Do I agree with everything that you're doing? No. But will it get me a little bit further? Maybe. And I don't know that it would have saved her, but it could have.
Dani's had 2 days of putting up with Tortuga's bullshit. Like, she's fed up. She's made it this far. Like, there's no more ego to be fluffed. She is well out of compliment to this point.
I said I couldn't have done it. I would have said the same thing, or probably something even more obnoxious. So no shade on her, but at that moment, if there was any chance of shifting the tide, that was a key conversation, and it didn't go the way Mars wanted it to go.
It felt like Mars was being legitimate, though. It felt like he wasn't blowing smoke. Like, he was legitimately coming to her with a plan to blindside Ash. And Dani was not keen on that plan because she felt that didn't work for her, because if she's going into a final 5 with Mieta and Mars, she has, in her view, zero chance. That's what I was getting from the confessionals and discussions. Zero chance of making it to the end, because I guess they're both such strong challenge competitors. And if she could get rid of one of them, then she only needs to beat one of them, perhaps. We'll talk to her about whether that was her thinking. But I do feel that, Mara feels, and maybe this was shown in the edit, Evan and Ash probably made Dani feel the Mieta plan was going ahead. I'm not so sure. Like, at the time, I don't think Dani believed in that plan. I don't think she believed that plan made sense for someone like Ash. Mars's plan also doesn't make much sense, except for what you're speaking of, Loz, that Mars probably feels that he can beat anybody. So he's probably not that. Maybe Ash is the only one he's worried about. So he's probably not that. Everyone will vote for you, Dani. Like, the jury's filled with old Nassaus, but it's not. Like, the only vote that Dani had locked in was Jules. I wouldn't have been that worried if you're Mars or Ash. Other people, sure. Evan, KK, but Mars or Ash, I think they could sweep Dani.
And I don't think it matters if you can't beat Mars or Mieta if you're not there to even try. At this point, you can't think that far ahead. To me, it's you're thinking 1 or 2 minutes ahead now. It's just the very next step. When your life's on the line, you can't plan for what the finals might look like. It's just surviving the next vote.
As a fellow sixth place finalist icon, joining the ranks of Dani, Rachel Rima, and myself, I think the sixth round is really hard. Like, it's a point in the day where you're like the most tired. You've been doing this for a long time, and you're really focusing on endgame. And I feel like Dani was kind of like so dead in the water that she was thinking, how do I survive this round, but like in a way that transcends me to fourth or third place rather than just getting to fifth. Like, I feel like her head was, what's the composition that catapults me past this stage? Because I was getting a very like, if you're not first, you're last kind of vibe from Dani this round. And she was trying to like set up that perfect end game rather than saving herself for this particular round.
I would like to say your
Six
point
is
about
hard.
the seventh or sixth positions being very difficult. I think that's a really great point. And I think it goes to the way these LRGs are run on the most part. And I think it's why so many of the orcas that have won the events, you won the orca awards, you know, won the real award, actually go in around this point, because orcas tend to be big characters and they're an easy target when you don't have a lot of time. And what happens on these second days is there's a bit of time to run through the early phases. A lot of time is given for strat chat at the merge because there's a lot of people coming together. There's a lot of content. And then as you start running towards the end of the day, it's always behind time and people get a bit worried about finishing the thing. So I feel like production does rush people through the 6 and 7 votes a little bit to get to the finale and have enough time for everything that's planned for the finale. And as a result, big players or people that are obviously big, people that, oh, that's a big player, they've been a big character, they could win, whatever. Maybe they won't, who cares? We don't know. But whatever, let's just get rid of them. Like, you know, Laurel or my season going around that point, it's the same thing. This person's a huge threat. Let's just get rid of them, and then we'll worry about the next. We made the final
five.
What I find
crazy for future players is like going into the final 5 with the, like, if you've got someone you trust and a target in front of you, you've got yourself to your end game, right? And people just get spooked and they jump the gun and they take out the big player 1 round too early. I love going into 5 where there's like a 2-2 split and a big player because the game is now exciting. We're looking at 2 players with win equity and 3 players yet to really prove themselves, and that doesn't excite me as much. And I think those 3 that need to prove themselves could have proved themselves by doing the big move 1 round later rather than doing it now. Because it wasn't a big
Which admittedly is what Mars was trying to pull off. I know Mars doesn't need it, but he had secured Mieta in his plan, in his view.
And he secured the necklace. Now's the time to do it.
Well, he was trying. He said, Mieta, you and me, Gab, Dani, will vote off Ash. That was their plan.
Well, I mean, we saw him say that once to Dani, and really, it was Dani who brought it up about Ash. The whole rest of the episode in his confessionals, he's talking about how much he wants to get rid of Dani, he doesn't want her around, she's not useful to the plan. So whether there was more conversation that he had about it, I don't know, but there was that one conversation with Dani, she brings it up, he agrees, and that's all we really heard about it. So Dani, I don't know that he was on board.
Dani wasn't on board. Dani only wanted to vote for Mieta. Mars wanted to bring in Mieta.
Ash up, though, as the threat. And then Mars says, well, now you've said that, now I'm worried about Ash as well. Prior to that, he hadn't said anything about Ash.
He had built in that plan with Mieta first, before he went to Dani.
Not to take out Ash this round.
Yes, he had. That was the conversation they were having next to the, like, weird bunker.
They were just talking about going to the... He wanted to take her the final 2.
Each other? Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't get much sincerity from Mars in voting out Dani. It felt like an idea he entertained, like, you do entertain every idea, but I didn't see much meat to it.
I think if Dani had been more committed... I think if Dani was more committed to Mars, he would have been more interested in doing the Ash plan. And she was hard on voting Mieta. And the problem is Mieta was the only person that Mars had secured for the vote other than himself. And
Am I crazy that this episode felt less like an episode of Melbourne Survivor and more like a weird Pulp Fiction-esque thing where we got everyone's like individual side quest about like where they thought they were up to, and it all just kind of converged at the end?
That's what was so good.
Like, that's the lens that I viewed this episode in. And they all just converged on eliminating Dani.
this episode was for the 5 people that watched season 49 of Survivor, in the words of the RIZGID, cinema. Perfect cinema. That's what the kids say these days, apparently. Cinema. It really was. And I don't think they mean it that way. I think they mean it somewhat other ironic way. But for me, this episode was cinematic. Every part of it was incredibly well edited. The length is what I prefer. Thank you. 49 minutes is perfect. And let's go back on to what I was rattling on before. Mark, what did you think about the Great Idol Heist?
I actually did like it. I feel like it sets up the chink in Mars's armor. Like, he realized that someone got one on him, and the infallible Mars has now got a vulnerability, and I'm excited for that. So I am looking forward to see what Ash does with it. And yeah, I thought like having the idol hidden in plain sight was really cool, but it was so disappointing that no one like played into that. Like, I would have loved to have seen these clues come out, but the jewel to be taken earlier. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I wish someone had really inspected it earlier to get the payoff, but I liked it. I thought it was good. I also really loved how Ash did not entertain Mieta getting it. It was like, no, Mieta, I'm grabbing it from the start. Like, it's not up for debate. I'll play it on you. That's the same thing.
But I won't. In confessional. There's no way I'm playing on her, ever. She can be unsafe for once.
Monologuing about Mieta's need to be protected 24/7 was...
Yeah.
That was cinema. That was cinema to me. I loved it.
It's beyond frustrating listening to Mieta every single episode sook about thinking she's the biggest threat and she's going. Like,
who is Ash to rob her of that feeling of vulnerability?
And
then
to have the balls to go, well, I'm not going to go and rescue that hidden idol, but play it on me because I'm so vulnerable. Mate, not a chance in hell. Like, it's a level of delusion that just, I wish I could kind of reach it myself.
It's a level of
I've
delusion
never
of
seen somebody so paranoid.
Made it to Final 5 without ever having to be in a position of vulnerability. It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
It's just mind-blowing.
She wasn't immune this episode, but I think she equaled Brady's record of being immune 9 times in a row, which is what Brady did in Melbourne 3.
It does you a disservice at a certain point though, because like, especially your first time playing, you haven't played to the same level as other people who have actually had to maneuver. So it's really put her at a really disadvantageous state, because like, this is the thing about her, like, if she technically could have win equity, but like, she can't speak to her gameplay beyond generic scheming that doesn't separate it from anyone else, right? But the way that she has been a threat the entire game, and the way that she has been relatively informed the entire game, mean that should on paper make her a threat, and people do perceive her as one. But because she hasn't had that like moment to prove herself without safety, she just hasn't got the win equity.
Well, and it's her paranoia has meant that rather than actually playing strategically, every vote it's come down to, well, as long as it's not me, I'll go with whatever the majority goes for, as opposed to her stepping up to take a risk, to throw a different name out. She's so scared that she's going to go. Her votes they're not votes that have driven, change. They're not votes that have changed up the game. I mean, she said, oh, Greg and Aaron would be really surprised I voted for them. Well, everyone voted for them. I mean, in the end, you went with it because everyone else was going with it. So she's almost like she shot herself in the foot, really, I think, in the game. And if she makes it to the end, I don't think she has much of an argument for the jury. And I think she will make it to the end.
Yeah. I want to cycle through some of the other players, but just to close out the amazing Idol Heist, I know Mara is here in the chat, and the whole thing was incredible. This episode was incredibly well edited. I think it's one of the best edited episodes we've seen in LRGs. It was
compared it to Pulp Fiction. That's a high compliment.
And I would have to say it came off perfectly. So the idol thing round the neck was the necklace being around the idol was my idea. And so I knew it was going to come out that episode because I knew the final clue would be released and they would figure it out. And so I was actually following Mars around when he was lifting up things, wearing the necklace, knowing that Ash is going to come back. I'm like, what are you doing? And that's he's like, oh, the clue said it was something here and I'm trying to find it. And then he goes and hangs it up and I'm like, oh my God, He's hung it up. And then when they come back in the thing, I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible. And then they're sending people off. I can see Ash splitting up everybody so she can go for it. And I thought Evan was in on it, but she just drags Evan along and doesn't give a shit. like, at the time from production, I thought, Evan's involved. No, Evan's just standing there watching this unfold. And then I said, Dan, the host and creator of Canberra, was actually filming this. And I said to Dan, let's keep a camera on this necklace that's now been undone, because at some point Mars is going to realize what's happened. And it took him so long to come back to the necklace right before we're leaving. And he grabs it and then realizes the bit's missing. And he looks at me and he's like, oh, the thing's gone. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, is this a production? Is this a twist? And I'm like, it's the way it's supposed to be. And he's like, okay. And then
it's supposed to be.
I love when players check with crew and they're like, I'm not getting the answer that I want, but I'm getting an answer.
And I said, Dan, keep the camera on him. He's gonna realize, even though we were now at the walking to tribal bit, we'd normally turn the cameras off and like keep the camera on. And that's that bit where he's like, it clicks and he's like,
you can actually see the cogs turning.
Yeah.
He's like,
and the fact that all that was caught on camera, and Mars's reaction was so perfect, and then the way it's been edited in by Mar made the whole thing so absolutely perfect.
He needed this humbling moment. Like, I if he makes it to the end, right? Imagine the delusion of Final Tribal Council without this happening to him. He would have thought that he's been in on everything, controlled everything. Like, I think this moment could actually help him in the long run if he makes it to the end and doesn't go in like, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't win off that.
I would like.
Well, what got me this episode was he was so like insanely proud of the fact that he switched the vote from Dani to Jules at the last Tribal Council, and I'm like, it had no bearing whatsoever. One went and then the next one went. What difference did it make? You know, at Tribal, the people who were already going to vote with you to vote Dani out, you told them, no, let's vote Jules instead. And so you all voted Jules instead. I just couldn't see why that showed him in such a power position. I just didn't get it. And maybe he'll be able to explain it, but to me it just didn't seem like a power move.
It's like when a kid does really shitty figure painting and you're just like, that's a great job. You really cooked with that, sweetie. Like, I'll put it on the
Mark,
fridge.
I like that you're doing this while she's saying that, because, you know, they came 6-7, which, what does it matter if they're 7 or 6 or 6 or 7, you know?
It doesn't fucking matter. It's brain rot either way. It was.
You nailed it.
I would have been happy with 6. If I'd made it one more vote, that would have been great.
Look, I need to say this publicly because I hear Mars has been copying some shit from the Muscle Flex confessional from his mates mainly, but now he's copying shit here about it. He did do that in his application video. He did this and said, I'm going to win because I'm Mars, I'm the god of war, and like flex his muscles, right? And so he did that in his application video and it was very compelling. We're like, this is amazing. We love this. When we cast him. No question about casting him anyway, but like that was so good. And so when we got to this point in the thing, I was doing that confessional and I'm like, do the muscle thing where you said to the god of the war. He said, no, I don't really want to. I don't want to look like a dickhead. And I'm like, you did it in your application video. You're doing it now. And he's like, fine, I'll do it. But he felt really uncomfortable about it.
I'm up to out of admiration. Like, yeah. I'm all for it. I don't think any less of him. I think more of him for doing it. Give me a character. Give me ego.
I agree.
Like, that's what we're here for.
Well,
it doesn't mean I'm not going to mock you for it, but I think it's amazing.
I don't think it's who he is in real life, but like he playing it up was great. It was great of him to do it, and I'm very glad Ma put it in the edit because I was worried she wouldn't, because she's like wouldn't want to feel bad about doing it, but it was so good and it fit the episode so perfect. It was the pride coming before the fall in terms of the idol. 1 minute he's wearing it and 1 minute it's gone. It couldn't have been set up more perfect.
And if anything else, it's given Josh some more like material for his like, you know, private time album.
Who does Josh like more? Does he like Mars more? Does he like Ed more? Ed from Loz's season.
Oh, you know what? I've got to be very careful with my words here, but I think Mars fits his little black book more.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the other players that we haven't talked about in the game. Before we get to Ash, who I think had an incredible episode, let's talk about KK and Evan. What do we think about KK? Seemed very lost this episode. Only an episode ago, she had some sort of plan. She was telling us she had a plan, she had a strategy, and now and she wanted to keep Jules. That was her strategy. That was a part of her plan. And now she voted out Jules because Mars told her to at Tribal. And now she basically seems to have given up on whatever strategy she had at all. And now seems to want to target Evan for some reason. Loz, how do you feel about this thinking?
I just don't even know what to say. Like, KK said she had a plan. And I'd like to believe that she did, but I don't think she did. And I think she's confused because she didn't actually have a plan and she thought she did. And now she doesn't know what to do, which has been every single episode, pretty much the whole game. From a viewer standpoint, she's fun to watch because of the way she's sort of like bumbling through this game. But as a player who got taken out in favor of people who maybe weren't playing as strategically, it absolutely hurts my soul. Like with Dani's confessional at the start, where she talks about KK and Evan and, the people who are just coasting through the game, I felt it so much in my soul because it just feels unfair when you're fighting and you know that people are being taken to the end because they can be beaten. Like that it's heartbreaking. KK, Evan, and Mietta, the three of them.
Comment? I think Mara said this while you're having your moment, and she said, "Introverts are people too. Not everyone can be an orca." Do you want to respond to that, Loz?
But you've got to have a strategy. You can be an introvert and have a strategy. You can be an introvert and play an exceptional game. You can be an introvert and be strategic and build great alliances and make big moves. You can do all those things as an introvert. But I don't think we're seeing any of that from KK, Evan, or Mietta. I'm not having a go at them because they're introverts. I'm having a go at them because I don't think they're playing strategically. And I think that when they get to the end, I can't imagine what they're going to use to ask a jury to vote for them. I mean, KK, whether she was trying to be funny at Tribal, and Liz asks her, "So who do you think you want to take to the end with you?" And she says, "Oh, I don't know, someone friendly." Like, was she being funny? I couldn't tell. But it clearly riled up Liz, and it riled me up because, come on, that is not what the game's about. If you haven't worked that out at this point, KK, like you've had 2.5 days.
I think KK's struggle and why she's struggling now is that she is learning the game on the fly. She hasn't watched much Survivor, and she got in a very fortunate position where she didn't have to vote for people that she was like friends with. Like she's a nice person who could reconcile voting out the other team. And she's finally hit the point now where she wanted to keep Jules. She voted for Jules. She feels lost about that. Now people are talking about, maybe we should be voting out Mars. She's like, well, we've been with Mars from the beginning. Like this is difficult for her at this point, and she never probably anticipated how difficult that was going to be for her. I would suggest. Mark?
I hope she doesn't quit, right? But she's the kind of player who I could see quitting at this point, where the reality of the game is too much, and she takes a step back, and then that's heartbreaking for someone like Loz and I, because if we're Dani right now, it's so hard to accept that you went out the way you did just for someone to not fight anymore. And I've come a long way in the way I watch Survivor, and I have started to appreciate the introverts, the people who are a little bit more risk averse than I am. But it gets to a point where if you're playing this game and you're in the end game, you should have a plan to win. And it doesn't seem like Mietta and KK have a plan to win. I think Evan has a plan that he thinks could win a game, but it's not going to this late against the people that have win equity.
What do you think? We haven't talked about Evan, Mark. What do you think is Evan's plan to win the game?
Evan has been so faithful to his opening video, and I was really anti-Evan in the opening video because he said he was going to play behind the biggest players. But to me, it read as you're playing for second place or you're playing to be a no-vote finalist. I had 100% faith that he would make it very far into the game, but I thought he would do so in the most uninteresting and like non-influential way. And I believe that my read was correct. I hope that he does something interesting in the next 2 rounds, and I don't think that's impossible. But I don't think that like one slight push over the edge at the very end is a game-winning game. I think your game is inclusive of everything you do from the moment you hit the beach. And I don't like it when people bring goats to the end and just push them down at the last minute. Like, I don't know.
Agreed.
Well, we're a bit down talking about these players. Let's talk about someone. Look, I think it's hard to say she came out of her shell because I don't think she's been in a shell at all. But the tension of a day and a half of pretending like she's a super nice person to everyone is finally getting to Ash a little bit. And she's really coming out in these confessionals firing. She's been doing this a little bit throughout the whole game, but this episode was endless Ash confessionals, just sniping at everyone for a lot of the things that you guys have been saying on the show. Concern about Mietta's unwillingness to ever be unsafe. KK's losing the plot with a plan to like vote out Evan for some reason. Concerned a bit about Mars, maybe like how she's going to manage Mars at the end of the game. Like I think this episode was like, it was Ash's episode. Like she was the star of this episode. Add in the stuff where she obviously pulled off the heist, set up the heist, got the idol right in front of Evan, and Evan's like, "Is that it?" She's like, "I don't know. I'm just doing this." And he's like, "Oh." And then to Vignetta, as you said, she's like, "Can I get the idol?" It's like, "No, I'll get the idol and I'll play it on you." And then literally goes confessional, like, "I'm not playing on her." Like, absolutely dominated the strategy and the moves of this episode. And ultimately, I think that if Ash had wanted a different outcome, if she didn't want Dani to go in this episode, then Dani would not have gone. That's I feel the influence that Ash still has in the game.
I felt like Ash could have made any move happen. This is the feedback I have for Ash. Slay Diva, you killed it as always. I hope you never have to work a day in your life. I love you, my princess.
How do I follow that?
She was so good. I mean,
this is my argument is that right from the start, the whole way through, Ash's social game is superior to Mars's, and that is what sets them apart. They have played similar games, but her social game is much more powerful. I think it is, and if she gets voted out and Mars stays, it is because I do think she is more threatening, and she would beat him at the end. She's just socially superior, and the way that she manipulates the people around her without them having any clue that she's doing it is masterful. She doesn't have to sit there and go all out with Mietta and go, "Hey, do you want to make it to the final 2?" Because Mietta believes that with Ash, she probably will. It's one of those given things.
She's guaranteed immune at the next vote. So all she has to do is like set up Mars and Mietta in front of her to go home one after the other, and then she's good, right? Like,
yep.
The only way that she can get cooked here is if the person wins immunity twice in a row and decides to take her out at 4. That's the only way I can see Ash not making it to the end. So
yeah. So no, I think it's this game she's played is absolutely top tier. It's hard to think of anyone who's played a better game from the LRGs I've watched.
I love that.
I love that Mars still thinks that he and her are so equal, because he compares winning immunities to what she's done socially, and they are not the same thing. And people in the games don't look at them the same way. People do not rate being a challenge beast as the same as being a social strategic beast. And I think that's where Mars has let his desire to win everything overpower his strategy in making sure he's playing the most social game.
Ash is giving
I think-
Lady Macbeth. Like, the blood isn't on her hands, but she's the evil bitch. But to everyone, she's just the queen. I'm obsessed.
The thing that was most impressive about Ash on the day, and Ash still now watching it back, is you meet people in life who are socially incredible. Like, they're just naturally the sort of person that gives out an aura that everyone just loves them, right? I think Ed on your season might have been that sort of guy, Loz. Everyone just gravitates to them, likes being around them, wants to be their friend, that sort of thing. I know we've all known people like that, and I think they can be very effective Survivor players because they have that sort of infectious personality. Now, I'm not saying Ash is not a likable person, but she doesn't really have that sort of personality. She has created that personality and maintained it for a day and a half.
That's what's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's what's so incredible about it. Yeah,
like, give the woman an
amazing
Oscar. She's missed her calling. Ash, theatre, acting, I don't know, but you've absolutely missed your calling, because how you maintain that when you are tired, when you are frustrated, when you're sick of everybody. I can't do it for an Orca episode, let alone to try and do it for 3 days. It's a miraculous feat, and I'm in awe.
Do we have anything else we want to cover before we bring in the interview?
I just wanted to quickly jump on. I don't want to dogpile on Mia out of this episode because, like, I also appreciate that she's new to the game and she's using her skill set well, but she's not picking up the skills that she needed to, like, overcome that deficit, right? So that's, like, my takeaway. But she had one confessional where she was like, yeah, I think I'm a big threat and I think I'm in danger. But then she did nothing to mitigate that and actually start changing things. And, like, that to me was, like, the most heartbreaking thing, because, like, you see this person who has all the tools to be such a dramatic player, and they recognize that they're at a point where they need to change something, and they actually have the numbers to change something, but they don't, right? And that was early in the episode, and I was like, if you're recognizing these issues, you need to start working on them rather than just letting them ride out. And Dani was her ticket to making that change.
Yeah, that's what I think I said something similar at the start, is that it's no good every episode Mia going, I'm a massive threat, I'm in danger, I'm going to get voted out next, I don't know what to do about it, but I need to do something, and then not do anything, just to go with the flow again and go, well, as long as it's not my name, then I'll worry about it tomorrow. And that's what's happened every single time.
And if
every
she could
episode,
say,
she says the same thing.
If she could say at the end that I decided to shift the game and keep the threats in front of me so I could win the clutch immunities and get myself to the end, because a lot of our original tribe have done nothing. We've all played together the same, but I shifted the target for me at these key moments. She might not win, but she'll be getting votes.
It's a moment, grab Dani, grab Evan, go with Mars, and take out Ash. Take her out now when she doesn't see it coming. KK's then floundering. You can keep her if you want to and get rid of Dani if you need to, or you could get rid of KK next. All of a sudden, you've got a very different looking final four.
And she knew about Ash's idol.
Yes. This was a moment to change the game. And Dani could still get voted out next or the one after. To me, there's no concern that they weren't going to be able to boot her at a point when they felt like they needed to. Why they didn't take that chance.
And this is why I came in with the sunglasses on in the morning, because I'm like, I enjoyed this episode so thoroughly. I was like, it's giving cinema, as has been the word of the night. And then to get that outcome with all the pieces where they were, with all the interesting things together,
it's like wipe it clean, nothing happened. We're back where we were at the start of the episode after Jules went.
And
that is the one, the one thing that takes, the episode is incredibly well put together, but if it had a different ending, then it would be, an all-timer, right? And you can't control that from a...
There's something that the orcas get a lot of hate for, which is well, if you're in a position of power, you don't make moves for the sake of making moves. This move served Ash and no one else. I think Ash is the only one that benefits from this. I think every single other player in this game lost something by voting out Dani. So I don't think that this was the right move for most players. It served one person only.
Evan also, I think, gave up the opportunity for like a huge move. Like if he wanted to make a huge move, and I think he has the strategic nous and survivor knowledge to think about this.
But he doesn't have the job to do it.
I think Final 6, with the last time you can play a safety without power, can turn your numbers into a 5-2, right? A 3-2, sending someone away, sending a KK away, and then making the vote you want to make or whatever. Like, you know, like, and it's probably Mieta, like, because if you do, you know, now that he knows Ash has the idol, it's a bit tricky. So like maybe it's a move on Mieta with Dani and one other person. You just got to send someone that won't vote with you away. You know, you could send Ash away, you know, so she can't play the idol on someone, right? Whatever. Like, he could make a big move here and get a different outcome for himself. It would have been.
He just wants no visibility.
Yeah.
He keeps making comments like, you know, I'm starting to think it might be time to make a move. I'm starting to worry about the challenge threats. I'm starting to think, Evan, you needed to be starting to think about that 4 episodes ago. Now is the time.
Greg's challenging my survivor power knowledge. My belief has always been that safety without power allows you to send someone else away that's not yourself.
You can.
Or
yes.
you can send yourself too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yourself or someone else.
Zoe's one on my season was you can send anyone away, and that, like, she could have basically made me a useless person by sending me away when I did that big move at Merge, and I was like, that would have literally cuffed me forever. So
Jules is coming in with Jules knows these things. US Survivor, you can't do that. The one time we saw it in AU, you could do it. And I think on production, we would have allowed you to do it. Like, we would have said that was fine. That's how we would have played it. In terms of our production decisions, before we bring in Dani, I owe her an apology from a week or so ago about the immunity idol clues. It is clear that there were only 3 clues, and that the first clue was the same clue twice. I think that was obvious now from the final information. On reflection, I think we did that so with the thought that the first group would go and then the next group of people, so everyone would get to see that same clue, knowing that the immunity idol, to get the information about the immunity idol, you'd need to go to Uncharted Waters, and therefore people could strategize around that. I think that was the thinking, to try and make it fairer. I think in retrospect, it should have just been 4 clues, and the clues perhaps should have been a bit easier, as Mark said, so someone might have found it before the last one. But I was wrong about the clues, Dani. I'm saying this while you're off screen, so you can't I'm sure you'll come and get fired up about it anyway. But I thought you get less fired up about it if we're on the side. So look, without further ado, you've seen her on the screen many times. She was on the screen last time hosting TWIOLSH, but here she is, 2-time player, 2-time interviewee, but first time doing her interview alone. Fun fact. Last time she did the interview, we had her and Christy together because, of course, they got voted out together in this Paired Destinies in Sydney. And that wasn't probably the best interview for Dani because we just wanted to speak to Christy. So now she gets her time in the sun to talk about everything that was Uncharted Waters. Bring her in. Dani.
I've been waiting 3 years for this moment. Come on, give it to me, baby. Let's go.
How did it feel to see that you weren't as close in that immunity challenge as you thought you were?
The flashbacks are like, I was so sure it went, like, my memory of that, I was much closer than I was. But
you didn't have all the letters.
But I felt that way about all of the challenges. Watching the challenges back, I thought I was a lot closer in the challenges than I actually was. Yeah. So that's okay. That's all right. Do
you have your pink jumper on?
I do.
You do? Okay. Yeah. Good. Thank you.
I love that. She comes 3rd place in the challenge, and it's like 45 minutes later. Still 3rd, though.
Yeah. That's fine. That's all right.
So what was the worst part of your day? Like, what was the worst part of the experience?
I think for me, Merge was really rough. Speaking of Sydney Survivor, obviously I was Merge boot come Sydney. So flying all that way down, having a really strong pre-swap tribe, feeling super happy in that, getting swap screwed and going to merge with the numbers that we had, really looking down the barrel of being merge boot again was terrifying. It was terrifying. That was probably my lowest point of the day. I've said it a few times, actually. I think because Matty C did all my confessionals in Sydney, so he did a lot of my confessionals for Melbourne, I think, which is why I had such an ease on camera, because I had already had that relationship. But he didn't do my confessional for that merge morning. I did it with Tara. So I was trying to not talk about Sydney. So like that's why the blubbering missed and start talking about random other things. But that's why I was upset, because I was like, I cannot have come all this way to be a merge boot twice. So that was probably my lowest point.
I don't think Nat came all the way from Queensland to be the first boot either, but
Yeah.
so Libby.
Yeah.
I think anyone who makes it to merge like multiple times over is like should never feel bad about their game, because like no matter what you've done something consistently to like get halfway through the game. So
no, yeah, I think it was just like this again, like really, am I going to get here again and not be able to get any further?
I would actually agree with Mark on that. I when I've done my rankings, and I have them, and we'll have a ranking show at some point of every player that's played. I do people on a body of work, and if someone has made merge twice, even if they haven't won the game or whatever, it puts them higher in the rankings than other people that have made the merge once, because making the merge twice in two different games, two different, completely different groups of people and personalities and circumstances and advantages and everything that goes along with Survivor, as Mark says, means you have a real capability for the game. Whether you win or not, it's not easy to make merge.
Thank you.
Agree.
No, I don't want this easy on me either. Come on. Let's
No,
go.
okay. Well, I do. So
I have a question for you.
I have a question. And I want to go back. So you talk a lot about being tribe swap screwed.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, yeah, I get it that you ended up with 2 versus 3 on the other. But your tribe had less numbers. Nassau had less numbers because you lost more challenges.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, you lost more challenges because of the people you chose to vote out. You voted out Xavier, you voted out Hannah, you voted out Byron. And to me, they were the stronger players on your tribe who had the capacity to take you further in challenges. Yeah. Okay? So you voted out your stronger people.
Yeah.
Tribe swap came, you had less numbers, and you ended up in the minority.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct?
Yeah.
So to me, it was directly a correlation to your decisions and your votes in the first part of the game. My question is, would you do anything differently? Knowing what you know now with the way the tribe swaps potentially were going to end up.
Yeah.
Getting rid of those people, were they such a threat early on that it was still worth it to get rid of them, or could you have played that differently?
Oh, I don't change. No, I stick. I double down. As much as they were challenge assets, they were also a challenge to my power in that tribe. They were the people who I couldn't, not even like control, but like weren't on the same wavelength with me. And I was trying to insulate myself. And there were people who I thought would see me as threatening, and I saw them as threatening to my deep game run.
Jules
I also kind of feel like
Billy Cart.
Oh, that is something I would do. I would put myself in that fucking Billy cart, and I would not let Chris do that challenge. And then we win that challenge. We didn't know he didn't know how to drive, or we didn't know he didn't know how to pull the things. I would put myself in that fucking Billy cart. That is the one thing I would change. Thank you, Jules.
Do you think that those players would have allowed you and Jules to have your relationship?
I don't think Jules and my relationship is the relationship it is if it was not for the way the swap happened.
Yeah.
Which is why I think you probably don't regret anything that happened.
Pardon?
It's probably part of why you're saying I wouldn't change a thing, because you got an amazing relationship out of it. It's worth more than winning.
Yeah, like
But
I appreciate that all I did got to that point, and I didn't appreciate the swap the way that happened. But I mean, we could have been swapped out with different people. You swapped me into a tribe with Mars. You swapped me into depending on the swap. Obviously, I don't know what's happened between Ash and Jules on the map until after the fact, but the swap numbers look a little differently depending on who I go over to blue with, and those gamers who want to play. It's a different story.
Okay, I've got a question for you, because I don't really have much fault for your gameplay, because you played from the bottom and you put up with bullshit, and I know how much of a mouth you have, and I think you did a really good job to not bitch slap these people when you really I would have given you a pardon in the court of law. So who do you feel like is the most privileged player in the game, and who frustrated you the most because of that privilege?
Sorry, go again for me. I was distracted by Greg taking credit for my relationship with Jules.
Who do you feel like is, like, out of the people left in the game, who do you feel like is the most privileged, and who frustrates you the most out of the final 5?
Oh, it's kind of a too far, and they're the same answer. I feel similar answers. I feel that KK is the most privileged by her relationship with Ash. I think Ash is keeping her around as a number who will vote with her always. Like, she's not threatening to Ash in any way, and she's never going to turn on Ash. So she has the privilege of being seated next to real power. And I think in the moment they both, I mean, you see it in this episode, both KK and Evan frustrate me dearly here. When we swapped, Evan, Jules, and I had a lot of chats about the game that we could play. And it's not necessarily all on the edit because it doesn't feature into the end of the game. But we have a lot of chats about, like, the fun we could have, the games we could play, Talk Survivor. And he was like, he really wanted to play the game. And that excited me about him. But then when we got there, it was like, well, you want to play? Let's play. We've talked about it. Why are we not doing it?
He was giving you like a sheep in a wolf's clothing, but he was just a sheep in sheep's clothing, right?
Yeah.
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 Dani, I've got a hard question for you.
Yeah, baby.
As a person on production and the person who convinced Nat come down from Queensland and play this game, which she was very hesitant to do because she was worried about getting voted out early because she's got a big personality. There was nothing more frustrating than you not playing the immunity on Nat. To everyone else, it seemed like a no-brainer because it disrupts the Tortuga tribe.
Yeah.
Do you regret not playing the immunity on Nat? Would have been better TV as well.
I do absolutely regret not playing that at all on Nat. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, there's something you.
I don't want to give you a pass on this, but it's so hard that early in the game to, like, be a bitch, right? And like sorry.
The reason I didn't do it, right? So you see in that first challenge, Nat's shit talking a little. She says it was production. Well, I still challenge her the fact that she was shit talking production. I felt like she was shit talking us as a tribe, so it annoyed our tribe. And so at that moment, I'm trying to look to make us as more unified as possible. And then when I shared the advantage with the tribe, we talked about who would we want to save or who would we not want to. And the tribe pretty unanimously said not Nat. And so I didn't then want to go to that tribal council, save Nat, and then go back and be like, oh, I didn't listen to you. I made my own decision. They gave me the grace to choose for myself, but had said, do not give it to this person. So I was towing a line with my tribe.
Did the conversation happen like, okay, not Nat, we don't like her, but they probably don't like her? Like, did that conversation happen at all? Like, the benefits of saving someone who rubbed everyone the wrong way? Not
from memory, but I also, the very first night, Nassau not deep in, like, strat. Like, everyone's playing very nicely. So that little bit there was probably the first time where they'd had to think about the game.
Yeah, and I think this goes back to what you say, Mark, about people not wanting to play big early. Everyone probably had that thought, but no one wants to volunteer that thought because they don't want us to be seen as the person that's thinking that way about the game at this point in the game. You know, like, they want to be seen as everyone's here just for the experience, and I'm not a strategic mastermind over here. I'm just, like, here for the good times. Like, you know, that's what everyone's trying to, not you, obviously, you were just turning the vote on Tommy in 2 seconds, but everyone else, poor hapless Tommy got murdered by Mark like 2 seconds into the game, and everyone else is trying to be friendly.
I'm a shark in the water. I smell blood and I go in a frenzy.
It's straight for Tommy's medulla.
I want to talk, because I know, CK, you've talked about Mars and his genuine offer and those sorts of things.
Let's go to that. That's a critical
happy
point.
to talk about it. I feel this, I mean, that conversation with Mars was a minute before we went to Tribal Council. Right, you can see it in the edit. When we're walking, we're being called to Tribal Council.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, that is true. Right. I do remember.
So that conversation, and it wasn't like I'm coming to, he's coming being like, oh, what do you think? And so I'm giving him my thoughts about who I want. He never comes to me and says, I have Miata, I have Evan, let's go for Ash. Like, it's not going to be you, let's fucking do this, that's a different conversation, right? He's come to me and said, what do you think? And led me to throw Ash as a name because he was trying to get me to offer her rather than him throwing her name. And then was like, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, which obviously he was already thinking about it, but we'd never had that discussion. And then we walk into tribal. And at that point, after the challenge, everyone's just like wishy-washy. Oh, maybe we can do this. Maybe we can do that. I'm like, guys, like, is there a fucking plan or is there not? And so at that point, anything anyone's throwing at me, I think they're just trying to placate me because they think potentially I might play something. So I was just like, well, fuck it, like, this is what I want to do. Come with me. It's a great plan. Because I was like, and for Mars, and again, I didn't, like, because I've been thinking about it now. I'm like, you have this now. Let's get Mietta. You can beast mode to the end from here. I'll probably come close, but you're going to beat me every time. You can take me out next. You can take me out at any fucking point. You're going to have the numbers all the way down. You're always going to have the numbers to take me out. Why are we not now looking at everybody else's runs to the end? I'm always going to be a number. You can always take me out. Why is it now?
See, I would have encouraged them to keep Mietta because they all wanted to take her to the end. Ash, I think, sees her in her finale. Mars sees her in the finale with him. They want to keep Mietta. Yeah. So let's leave Mietta.
But then bring me another option with like specifics. Don't come and be like, we don't know what we should do. I know what I want to do. What do you want to do? You have the numbers. I'm happy to play. If I can say in the game, give me a solid thing to work off. Don't come at me with conversations being like, we don't know.
I actually felt, though, that... Well, actually, you didn't know if Mars was being genuine at the time. On the video, even taking out any of the other conversations he's had in the episode that you've now seen, he seemed like he was being more genuine about this plan. And I think part of it is because you asked...
It was kind of like, do you think we could?
But he says...
It wasn't being like, I have this specific, this is my plan, this is what I want to do. It was like, Ash could be an option.
And he said, would you do that? And you said,
what do I do with that?
And you said, what other numbers have you got? And he's like, I've got people, but he wouldn't tell you who they were. Yeah. And I felt, if someone's being more genuine, then that's probably more of a truthful response because he's feeling you out and he doesn't want to blow up his own plan because you could run back to Ash and tell her everything, right?
Not when we're walking to tribal. At what point am I going to do that with Ash?
The thing is, even if it was legit,
you could have just spelled it out and said, all right, well, you, Mietta, Evan, me. That's 4. We won't tell Ash. We won't tell KK. We'll blindside the pair of them. We take Ash out. She's not going to know. If you tell me we're on, we're on. Like, what have you got to lose at that point?
And I totally get that. And I feel like the way the conversation was approached, and I'm not disagreeing that Mars's offer was genuine. For me, I didn't take it as like, because it was kind of like, I'm thinking about this. It wasn't being like, he wasn't like, I've also thought Ash is a threat. He was like, now I'm thinking about it. So for me, it felt like, it was like, maybe we could scramble and do this in time. And I didn't have enough faith or trust in anybody because I'd been burnt to this point. No one's wanted to work with me here. We're a minute before tribal.
So who do you think this round was the biggest fumble by? Because my view is that this was Mars's fumble in voting you out. Who do you feel like
I can't do that without giving you spoilers for how the game shakes out.
Do you feel like a player really fucked up this round by voting you out? Do you feel like you were the wrong choice for?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say that even if this had happened and Mars had told you the plan and that had been legitimately the plan, I think the plan immediately collapses once they realize Ash has the idol because they probably just back off then. They're probably too afraid of her playing on herself and don't make the move. 100%. So I think even if you'd played it differently.
That's why Mars gets up at Tribal Council. He's trying to spook Ash to play the idol.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything. He's just chatting. But he's gotten up to try to spook her to play it. Because he's realized, obviously, after we're like on the way down.
He's cooked in the next round if she has this idol. Yeah. I just think that Mars needed you in the, I don't know what happens next, but I feel like Mars now has to go on the immunity run in order to get to the end because now that there's no one else to vote for, they're all going to go for him unless he has the idol, unless he has immunity.
Which is
Whereas if
exactly
you
what he
were-
set up. He set that up,
That is-
that he made himself a challenge threat and not the social player that Ash is.
Yeah.
And he showed that in this episode where he didn't make the move that would have guaranteed him
Final four.
a clear run to the end.
Oh,
Do you have anything else that you want to? How do you respond to Greg's question that he brought you in, Danny? Your mutual hatred of Greg brought the two of you together and was the seed for your amazing relationship.
I won't give him credit, but here's our origin story for sure.
Without him, you don't exist. It's beautiful.
have you had lentils since Melbourne Survivor?
No, but not but not because of that particular reason. I just don't eat a lot of lentils, so that's fine. Look, I definitely I give credit where credit is due. Like, this story has been fun for the three of us. Like, it's the main thoroughfare of this season is the two of us against Greg. It's fun. In the moment, it was a very stressful, and I freaking hated every minute of that fight. It was, actually what I really want to say is that Final 6 is even better than Final 9. Because Greg said to us at Final 9 that Final 5 was better than Final 9. And I'm going to say Final 6 is even better than that. So
Everyone loves to, if you're not first, you're last. But then when you look back and you see where you are on Eden's wiki on the page, you're much happier sitting there in 6th than you would be at 9th.
100%. 100%.
The question from the aforementioned Eden: if there's one thing, what would be the? Hang on, we asked the question earlier, Eden. Are you not here? This question's been answered.
I think that was pre-merge. I don't think there's a lot I would change. I think post-merge,
You get Billy Cart, save Nat. They're the two things.
Billy Cart, save Nat, pre-merge. Yes, they're the two things I would change. Post-merge, I still duo up with Jules. We're still that tight-knit, but I make more of an effort to not alienate everybody else. I think
the assertive gameplay.
I came into merge swinging because I was just terrified, and I never stopped swinging. And I'm watching myself talk to people, being like, smile at somebody, like something, make them feel nice, like. And here's me, Mars' confessional, being like, she's fucking terrifying, like. and I'm watching myself being like, you are terrifying. Can you smile at these people, like something? So I think post-merge, I would obviously still go balls to the wall with Jules, but I would make more of an effort to get ins with other people.
But it's so hard when you haven't.
You were so passionately assertive that Evan needed to go sit down and meditate to recover from that conversation. How do you feel about that?
I don't care. It's a fast game. Get in the game or get out. Let's go.
So the answer to your question, Eden, is no. Danny wouldn't change anything.
It's so hard when you have experience in these games playing with people that don't have the experience, because you're jumping at the bit and they're stalling, right?
100%.
And
absolutely.
Also, Danny, you also wouldn't have seen yourself play in Sydney when you filmed Melbourne, right? So
no, and I hadn't ever played post-merge. I got to merge in Sydney, but I was taken out before I could play, and I got to merge in Sydney with a lot of power. I'm giving shit to Tortuga for wanting to run their numbers. I would have done the fucking same thing in Sydney in the power that I was in. I was sat very, very pretty in a power alliance. I would have done the same thing. So I'm mouthing off for something I would have done in Sydney had I gotten further. But yeah. And also, Loz, you compare Ash and I a lot. Completely. Ash is playing a much better game than I am at this point, and I completely agree with you. We're in very different positions in the game though. And I think that's it's hard to make the comparison as returnees, because she's playing from power and beautifully. She set herself up that way. I never got the chance to do that.
Well, you did. You were in power in Nassau. You were.
Yes.
And it didn't play out as well for you. It played out better for Ash, undoubtedly, because of factors, Greg's advantage and the way the tribe swapped.
Completely.
But I think you both were in very equivalent positions.
Yeah.
And I think, and I know you don't back down on your decisions, and I respect that, but I do think that if a couple of decisions had been made differently in the boot order in the original Nassau, a couple more challenges might have been won. The tribe swap goes very differently with very different numbers, and I think that the roles could have been totally reversed.
Yeah,
and you could have taken on Ash's trajectory, and she could have taken on yours. So
yeah, I think I'm talking.
I think your games are quite similar.
Yeah. I think pre-merge, I think our games and pre-swap very similar, and then it just shifts the dynamic because of numbers. And I totally take that point, and I get the comparison. Ash is playing a fucking incredible game. Like I'm not bothered by that. I'm just saying we're sitting in different positions.
A couple of final questions from the audience. Ma wants to know: are you coming to Melbourne, presumably for the finale, or now the Orca drinks, or both?
Well, I was planning to come for the finale, but everything got pushed back a week and to a Sunday, so I can no longer attend because I have kids to take to school on Mondays and things. So I can't make the finale work, but I will be moving hell or high water to be there for the Orca drinks.
And Jules, one final tough question for you. Who's a better ally, Jules or Michelle from Sydney?
And as I have said for 3 years, I refuse to answer that question.
You can say me. I'm the best ally. Just me. I'm the best ally. It's fine.
I just also I want to do. Why are we shocked? I'm a nice person, motherfucker. I'm sorry, you were nice to me, so I wasn't nice to you.
She's a nice person, Greg. Look how nice she is. She didn't just call you a motherfucker.
She was so nice to Evan. She was toughening Evan up for the end game. That's what she was doing.
Yeah. Also, everyone in this chat can attest to that I am a very nice person outside of the game, and that was a real moment for me. I messaged Mars and said I was really happy that made the edit, because that was really important to me in the game, because I could see how viscerally upset she was, and I know you made fun of me for how quickly I went back into game mode, but the fact that I took the moment outside of the game to make sure she was okay twice. I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all.
I don't know that you're helping your case right now.
You were so nice to Christelle. She didn't remember
nice
your
twice.
name at the.
I know.
You still gave you the better food than Jules, though. You got the better food than Jules.
I did. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Dani. What an interview. Absolutely brilliant. We'll be seeing Dani soon because I don't know if anyone's noticed, but the cast of Canberra Season 4 has started to be dropped. And as soon as we wrap up our coverage, we'll have a little episode in between, special episode, sneaky coming. But when we wrap up our coverage of Uncharted Waters, we'll be jumping right onto the Canberra coverage with the OG crew, myself, Dani, and Jules. But for those of you that love Loz, Mark, and Josh, do not worry, because soon after Canberra, I understand we will be seeing Sydney Season 2, which Dani and Jules are spoiled on, and so the other orcas, the alternate orcas, or aka the mean orcas, Loz, Mark, and Josh will be back, hopefully, to join me for that Sydney coverage. So the whole crew will continue to entertain you for the months to come.
I'm also super excited for you to see Sydney 2. It's a real step up from Sydney 1. A lot of Sydney 1 people were involved in it, and it's a bigger, better game, and I'm really excited for it to finally come out.
Thank you,
Dani. Love the
Dani.
community coming together.
It's all coming together. Just like it all came together for that incredible immunity heist. What an episode. What a production choice. What an edit. Congratulations to Ma for such an incredible edit. Congratulations to Mars for making it possible. And congratulations for me for coming up with the idea. As we now move to TWIOLSH. Thank you for the IRL. It was appreciated, Loz. As we move to TWIOLSH, as I change the media assets and we get ourselves prepped. Don't leave yet, Adam. Don't go anywhere, because after TWIOLSH, we will talk about what is going to happen after this episode, and we will talk about who is the orca of the episode. A couple of good contenders for this one. Dani's pointing to herself, but she's won a few already, and I think maybe we should consider another option for this one. But, orca of the episode doesn't mean anything for the others shaking their heads. But we will see. Is our guest here? I'm not seeing them in the backstage booth, but let's just play the TWIOLSH music and maybe they'll arrive. Hello, Jules.
Hello. Definitely Dani for orca of the episode. I know I'm not an official orca here, but that's my take.
I think Dani did Dani things, but I think there's someone else to consider who maybe stepped up their orcaness this episode. But we'll talk about that with the orcas post TWIOLSH. Where is my opponent, Jules?
I don't know.
Do I need to chase her through the forest in order to get her to appear on this thing again?
I'm not the contender, everybody. I did just message
will be
her.
if she doesn't
I don't know
show up.
where she's gone. She was here a second ago.
You will be.
Come on, Dani, you can answer the questions. I
Dani
believe
has
in
to
Dani.
I've obviously revealed who it is by the chase through the forest moment. So get your cups of coffee ready so you can sip on the sweet nectar of the caffeine as myself and this opponent, assuming she arrives, go head-to-head once again in a Midsummer Night's Dream battle that is known as TWIOLSH. Without further ado, bringing in the star. She was the star. The star of Playing with Fire, Loretta.
Hello. What's going on?
Loki robbed the Orca of the season.
I won that so comfortably. Loretta's too good of a player to be Orca. Definitely the best character. MVP character.
Love that. Oh my god. In love. How is everybody?
We're
Excited
good.
to have you here.
I'm good.
Yeah. I'm
Have I
excited.
faced off against Lorel in the past on this? I think I have. You done this
No.
before?
No.
Okay.
First time, babes. First
Eden
time,
is saying your
babes.
bob is delicious.
My gob.
Your bob is delicious.
Your hair. Your hair.
We love a
People never
sensible
call me
bob.
Bob. Thank you. Yeah. I got a bob. I got some bangs. You know, life has changed, you know?
Stunning.
You do look
Really
lovely. You have
stunning.
lovely long hair. I have long hair too. Where's my compliment, Eden, about my longer hair? I also have longer hair since Playing with Fire.
I also have
Like a
longer hair. My
rock
hair is also a different color than when I play.
This is the shortest hair I've
Yes.
ever had.
Just like
All right. Laurel, do you need a
It's
refresher
the
on the
bob.
rules? Do you know how the
Yes.
game works?
No.
Okay, so you will choose which
Yes.
category you want a question from. All of the questions come from episode 10 of that LRG. I'll give you a question. If you get it right straight away, you get 2 points. If you're not sure and you want to take the multiple choice options, you can, but you will only get 1 point. In either scenario, if you get the question wrong, CK can steal for 1 point. And the same as when he answers, if he gets it wrong, you can try and steal. Sound good?
Crazy. That
All right,
sounds
so the
insane.
questions you can choose from: Melbourne 2, Playing with Fire, Melbourne Mystery Box, which is anything from the Melbourne Survivor franchise, Backyard 4, Backyard 5, or Canberra 3.
you need to tell her about the phone a friend as well.
Oh, and the phone of, yes, the 2 orcas that are currently backstage, you can bring them in for 1 question if you would like that.
Oh my god! I just want them to come in. More the merrier. How many times can I use that? Twice?
You can use them once.
Oh damn it! I tried. Okay. Okay. So the only thing I really know is my season, not because like of anything bad or like what's the word? Selfishness, but that's really much.
If you want to choose Playing with Fire, you are welcome to choose Playing with Fire. CK chooses it every week.
Oh, okay. I would choose his strategy. I would love to pick Playing with Fear, please.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
go.
I took a leaf out of Dani's book from last week, and it's a 2-part question.
That question
one
was
point.
ridiculous.
No, this is good. Okay, so
Okay, double point.
the vote count for this episode was my absolute favorite vote count in the world. It was a 3-2-1. Who cast the 1 vote, and who was that vote for?
Wasn't it yeah.
Lorel has frozen.
I think
Hang
you
on.
froze. Can you just give your answer again?
Oh shit. Hey, I'm back. Oh, it must sound like aliens. Anyway, I'm gonna keep speaking because I'm gonna say it's Caitlin. She voted for Chloe, right?
That is 2 points. Well done.
Hey, you. Oh my god, wait, is your audio chipmunks or just me?
Your audio is
Uh,
fine on our end.
You're having a struggle. We don't have your video anymore.
We don't have video.
We can't see your beautiful face, sadly. Please try and make that.
You can't see my
return.
face. That's so fine. The audio that's coming through, like everyone sounds like a chipmunk. It's really funny. I hope everyone can see this.
We can hear you fine, so that's something. I will go with Warren Knight, I suppose.
Warren Knight. Okay. So this was a double episode, and we saw Tara and Jason voted out. Across the 2 tribal councils, how many votes in total did Jason receive?
Okay. So Jason goes in the second tribal, and it's unanimous, and it's final 6. So that's 5 votes. In the other tribal council, which is the first one, Tara goes. But Jason Muscles is a decoy vote, and we've lost Laurel. Hopefully she comes back. Jason Muscles is the decoy or the in case of idol prevention, and Rancy has a extra vote, so he plays his both votes on Jason Muscles against Jason Muscles and Tara's vote. So there's 2 for Jason Muscles on the first tribal, and 5 for him on the second tribal for 7 votes.
That is incorrect.
What?
That's not what I've got written here. So when Laurel comes back in, she will have a chance to steal.
I'm going to the wiki.
Until then, we're just gonna vamp a little bit till she gets here, because she is obviously having some technical difficulties. Hopefully, she'll be back soon.
Otherwise, we have to bring in Dani in her stead.
Dani could have totally done this. Oh no, here she goes. All right. So while you were away, CK attempted to answer a question and got it wrong. So I will repeat the question for you. So
awesome.
It was so in Warren Diet, we had a double episode. We saw Tara and Jason Muscles voted out. How many votes in total did Jason receive across the 2 tribal councils? CK's answer was 7, and it was incorrect.
Oh my god. Then I'm gonna go 6.
That is correct.
Why the fuck did Rancy vote for Jason Muscles at that with Emily?
Know.
Oh my god.
Rancy voted with Emily. I'm looking at the wiki now. Why the fuck would he do that?
I don't know. I don't have the why. I just have the numbers.
You cost me,
right,
Rancy.
Laurel, where would you like to go next?
Third move.
Backyard 5, backyard 4?
Backyard 4, okay.
Oh,
so
okay.
the episode. Sorry.
No, yeah.
No, you're good? Okay. So the episode starts with players answering their touchy subjects questions in their confessional. Who did not know what riding coattails meant?
I'm gonna phone a friend. I would love to phone a friend. Please.
Hey, Mark.
Is it me? Is it me?
You.
Oh, crazy. All right, what was the question? I was in a different
Question
plane of existence.
So we're in Backyard 4. The episode starts with players answering their touchy subjects questions in their confessional. Who did not know what riding coattails meant?
All right, and this is episode 10.
Yeah.
So we had Joanne, we had Kiara, Sal, and Josh. I have a feeling, and Valentina. Oh shit!
I believe in you.
Who did you guess? Who did Laura? Who did?
No, she hasn't guessed yet.
That's how I called a friend. I've called in the experts, the big dog.
So I am not 100% sure, but it's either Joanne or Valentina, because Valentina's Italian, so like riding coattails is a bit of like a euphemism, and I feel like that's lost in translation.
Yeah,
that's the logic,
really
that's the reasoning.
Yeah, that's very spiritual reasoning as well. I kind of froth that.
That's my suggestion. So it's your answer, but I'm going to suggest Valentina.
I'm going to take that answer and say it. So Valentina, I put you down in attack mode.
That is incorrect.
No!
We tried! We try.
Now, Mark
Thanks,
Mark has gotten confused about the episode because
He has,
this
yes.
season goes a bit longer, and this is actually the 4-4 episode. So all the reds are there, but obviously none of the reds. I don't think it's critical because it's not like Rachel or Josh or Matt C or Michael would not know what that means. So I don't think him eliminating them has impacted his decision. I think he was right to query whether it would be Joanna or Valentina, and I get why he guessed both of those, and I get why he went Valentina, but I'm going to guess Joanna.
It was Joe, yes.
Damn, 50-50.
Yeah.
That was good. All
right, CK, would you like? We got Melbourne Mystery Box, Backyard 5, and Canberra 3 left.
Give me the Melbourne Mystery Box.
Okay,
That's
so
so
this isn't season specific.
Mm-hmm.
So, who was the first player in Melbourne Survivor history to play a hidden immunity idol?
From Melbourne 1, which I didn't go over my notes for.
You have notes? That's so awesome.
When we did our coverage of the
We
season.
covered it.
Yeah. I'm going to say it was Ian.
Correct.
Boom.
I was hoping you'd say Alicia because she played a fake one, thinking it was real. All right, Laurel, would you like Backyard 5 or Canberra 3?
Canberra 3, please.
Okay, so this is the finale episode.
Can we get a
At
score
Final
check,
Tribal
Sarah?
Council. Sorry?
Score check. Is it 3 to 3?
It is 3 all. It's close. So, yes, Canberra 3, at Final Tribal Council, which juror did not ask any questions, stating that they had already made up their mind?
What other helplines do I have?
Sorry?
Just phone a friend? Oh, 50. Can I please use my 50-50 helpline?
As in, you want the multiple choice?
You can't have another phone a friend.
Your multiple choice
Please,
options
please.
are Aiden, John, Sab, or Todd.
Oh my god, I was gonna say Eden. Damn. Ooh, that's interesting. Could I get one more time?
Aiden, John, Sab, or Todd?
Could I please say Sab?
That is incorrect.
Oh,
CK, do you want to steal?
I'm pretty sure I know the answer. I'm tossing up. I can't remember what Aiden said, but that's probably because I can't remember anything Aiden said in that entire season. Sorry, Aiden, that's a bit harsh. I think it was John.
It was John, yes.
Yeah. He'd already decided to vote for Ed the minute he laid eyes on Ed.
Correct, yes. All right, so Canberra 5. So here's where we're at. CK, if you get this one right, you win. If you get it wrong and Laurel steals, we go to a tiebreaker. If you both get it wrong,
yeah.
CK wins. So a lot of stakes. So Backyard 5. Again, we're at Final Tribal Council. Which juror asked the first question?
Did they do a boot order style questionnaire? I feel like they didn't, because why? Otherwise, that question is just like too freaking easy. Also, starting with coach is not going to set off the Final Tribal Council in a particularly interesting way, unless it was done out of order. My gut tells me it was Tara.
That is incorrect. So, Laurel, if you steal this, we go to a tiebreaker. Unfortunately, you don't get multiple choice, so you just have to get someone.
This was actually one season I actually stayed with as well. That's crazy.
Okay.
Who was there? So there was Coach. There was. I'm gonna say Coach.
Incorrect. It was DC.
Uh,
So by this much, CK, you have won, but you are not undefeated this season because someone kicked your ass last week.
I was only defeated
was
by the
that?
Quizmaster. Jules beat me. Only Jules has beaten me this season, but that's fine. Well done, Laurel. Incredible performance.
Very good battle. Very
Thank
good
you so
battle.
much. Well done. Thank you, Jules. Well, it's good to be back in the winner's circle. How are we doing back? I'm back in the winner's circle, feeling good.
I feel crappy.
I'm a
Yeah,
new man.
You knew that one, didn't you, Loz? About who didn't have a question. You could have been called on for that one.
I did know that one.
You knew
Only
that
because there was only one way that was ever going to go with. No, I'm not going to say anything. Actually, I'm just going to.
I would like to thank you. I turn off the comments when the quiz is going in case people want to answer in there. And Eden did say that Laurel's bob was delicious, and I wanted compliments, and he gave me my bob is edible, and I'm happy with that. I'm content with being edible compared to delicious. Okay, so 2 things we have to determine before we wrap up for today. Who is the orca of the episode? Loz, would you like to make a case for somebody? Mark, you go.
I'm going to go with Mars.
Mars
was using orca energy this whole episode. The arrogance, I'm running the game, I'm making the moves, I'm in charge, the big statements about all the amazing things he's done in the game. He's so confident. He's pulling Mietta in. He's shrugging off Dani. To me, it was just orca energy the whole episode.
Okay, well, I countered that with Ash. I think that Ash showed like SeaWorld orca of like grabbing Mietta by her mullet and like dragging her to the bottom of the ocean floor. You are not getting that idol. You are not getting safety. You will sit, you will sweat, and you'll be voted out if I have anything to say about it. And that's exactly what Tillicum the whale would have done to a SeaWorld trainer. So my vote is on Ash. Literal orca.
I also have to be the decider here. And as orca as Dani was on the way out, refusing to even listen remotely to Mars's plan that might save her and try to force her outcome upon him. She's like, I want to do my plan. I don't care if I'm on the bottom. Dani's won orca of the week a couple of times, and Ash really came out of her orca shell in this episode. This, of course, doesn't mean that most orcas doesn't win you orca of the season. That will be voted on by the Congress of the Orcas. But I do feel we might do a thing where you can only get voted for if you were like one orca of the week. That might be a fun way of doing it. You can only be a contender if you were orca of the week. That's a fun way of doing it. I think we'll do that. So the contenders so far are Jules, Greg, Hannah, Nat, Dani, and Ash. That's a great set of orcas to be contending to join the Congress. Well done to Ash for a first orca victory. I believe the idol play. Also just taking it off in front of Evan and not even giving a shit about whether he knows about it or not. I think it's also...
That's true.
Yeah. She feels good about it, and as she should.
She didn't care if he knew.
I've nominated Ash a couple of times in the past.
Yes, you did. I think this one she really did. There's a couple where she was borderline should have got it, so I think she absolutely deserves it this week, no question. Mark, what is going to happen next week in your opinion?
I think that if Mars doesn't win immunity, I'm trying to think of like a movie reference or something. But like, I think the Mars rover is like going down. Like, I just don't see it. Like, why would you not target him if you have half a brain? Like, KK cannot target Ash, so her options are limited. So if Mars doesn't win immunity, someone else wins immunity. She can literally only vote between Mars and one other person, right? So I think that will just push people towards Mars as well. Even if they don't have like a killer instinct, it's like, well, KK is voting that way because she physically is incapable of writing any other name down. Alternatively, I could see a KK quit, or if Mars wins immunity, I think it's a Mietta boot. Mars, Mietta, or KK boot.
I agree that if Mars doesn't win immunity, I can't see how Ash wouldn't take that opportunity to take him out. So if he does win immunity, I actually don't think it'll be a Mieta vote. I could see it being more likely Mars trying to properly flip it up and trying to push either KK or Ash, and then it'll come down to how the idol gets played. So I think they're the two outcomes. I don't think Mars will want Mieta out. And if he has the power to take out, and if he doesn't know about the hidden idol and that stays under wraps and he targets Ash, not knowing, well, then maybe Mieta does go, but that's the only way I see that happening.
So we'll have to wait until next Sunday to find out. But join us next week as we cover the episode 11. This is a lot of episodes because I think TWIOLSH has hit a bit of a wall here. George is going to have to do like episode 10s again for some of these seasons because we're at a wall of a very long season, but a well-deserved season, well put together season. We'll be back for episode 11, the penultimate episode of the season. We will see who is voted out. Thank you very much to everyone that has watched live. Thank you very much to everyone who's watched after the fact. Thank you to Dani for coming on for a great interview. Thank you to Jules for hosting and writing the questions for TWIOLSH. Thank you, Laurel, for a fantastic contest. Again, thank you all for being there. Thank you, Loz. Thank you, Mark. We will see you next week. But until then, we shall dance.